Science and religion both offer paths to understanding reality. While science offers an experimental approach to knowledge acquisition, religion offers an experiential path to religious understanding. However, religious experiences are much more unpredictable, personally more intense and transformative, and sometimes even unnerving at the first encounter. According to Dr. Polkinghorne, that experiential uncertainty is exactly what makes religion interesting and fulfilling.
I think religion has an experiential aspect. I wouldn't describe it as being an experimental aspect. In experiment, you figure out what you think ought to happen, you induce the circumstances in which you think it's going to happen, and then you see whether it does or not. You can't do that with God.
The outcome of religious experience is not as predictable as the outcome of scientific experiment, but it nonetheless achieves wholeness for a person. For example, praying for a friend or relative who is ill may result in a flexible range of options.
The people who are praying may be hoping that wholeness will find its expression in terms of some form of remarkable physical recovery. It may, but equally it may not. The wholeness may come, but it may come in the form of that person being able to accept the imminent destiny of death in a peaceful and trusting way. So there's a sort of range of possible outcomes. You can't lay them down beforehand in a way that you can in science. And that makes religious experience, it's valid, it's true, it's supportive.
Such religious experiences touch every aspect of our lives. They are especially noticeable during transitions, when we are in the decision process. As often felt by people on the verge of important decisions, Dr. Polkinghorne also felt a guiding hand in his transition from studying science to studying religion.
I didn't leave physics in the slightest degree because I was disillusioned with it. I enjoyed it, and I still take a keen interest in it. But I felt I'd done my bit, so the time had come to look and do something else.
The spiritual and religious nature of a decision process is not always readily apparent. In hindsight, however, it is easy for many people to identify.
I would see that myself, for example, in my change from being a physicist to being a priest. But I didn't hear a heavenly voice telling me to do that. At the time, it seemed more my own exploration. Looking back, and I see God's hand in it as well.
According to Dr. Polkinghorne, to see God's hand in it means to recognize transcendent possibilities in all of our experiences. For many people, he asserts, experiences that are ultimately religious and spiritual do not necessarily take us where we thought we wanted to go. They are not tools of convenience for us to use.
The encounter with God is not only fulfilling, but it's also dangerous. I mean, God will turn people's lives in directions that they initially don't want to go. And if you're not prepared to encounter God in terms of awe and worship and obedience, then I think you're not really prepared to encounter God according to God's true nature.
The tendency towards individualism turns religion into a tool for us to manipulate. We diminish the value of religion when we view it as a source for our own idea of fulfillment.
So this cult of fulfillment of the individual can produce a very dangerous. It turns religion, which is really the encounter with ultimate reality, it turns it into an instrument fulfilling what I want to do with my life, and I think that's not what it's really about.
Another effect of extreme individualism, according to Dr. Polkinghorne, is the separation between religion and spirituality. Although accepted as distinct concepts, separating spirituality from religion may also present undesirable results.
I don't myself like the separation between spirituality and religion. I mean, spirituality represents a dimension of human experience, but I think the ground of that experience lies in what religion has to talk about, which is the nature of God and the encounter with God. And I think a sort of detached spirituality has the danger, I don't say it necessarily does this, but it has the danger of becoming just another form of self-fulfillment or even wish fulfillment in relation to those sort of things. There is a grounding spirituality in religion, grounding spirituality in the experience of God and what the accumulated tradition can tell us about the nature of God and God's dealings with human beings, I think brings a very important element of testing, of discernment into what's going on. It liberates us from turning life into a sort of fantasy, which is always the danger, I think.
Religion offers people satisfaction and meaning in a way that science often cannot. According to Dr. Polkinghorne, religious experience provides more depth and complexity than even the complexity of a scientific knowledge can offer.
So there's a richness and a sort of ambiguity in a way in religious experience that doesn't have its counterpart in science. It makes religion a much more complex and also, incidentally, a much more satisfying and fulfilling form of human activity. Very wide range of human experience, which is quite different from that, where you encounter reality not as an it, but as a thou, if you like, not as an object, but as a person, or in the religious case, the transpersonal reality of God. And that regime, which is very central to human life and fulfillment, their testing has to give way to trusting. There's a different way of finding truth.
Both religion and science offer themselves as vehicles of knowledge important to human society. They focus on different aspects of existence, and when tied together, are able to offer a comprehensive picture of existence. Dr. Polkinghorne is an example of these two bodies of knowledge dynamically interacting within one mind. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. For Matter and Beyond, I'm Laura Wells. Until next time.